What is the Yogācāra view? The Yogācāra view is that actually there is nothing to be perceived in the first place. So they agree that the mind is always perceiving itself, but they don't agree that we can make an inference to the effect that we can establish the real existence of an external object that causes the arising of mind. Rather, they believe that the arising of mind can be understood just in terms of a continuum of the mind and how this continuum can influence the future continuation of itself. This is explained in different ways by the Yogācāra tradition. Some of them accept that there is a special type of consciousness which is compared to the ocean and which has the seeds for all types of other cognitions, which are compared to the waves, and other kind of Yogācāra philosophers do not accept that. So let me quickly go to the Yogācāra, so you can see the name, etc., etc. Why are they called Yogācāra? Yogācāra literally means the practice, ācāra, of yoga, and that itself means practice, and it refers usually to meditation. And this is because this tradition is largely based on this text, the Yogācāra Bhumi. So Yogācāra philosophers are those who follow the tradition of the Yogācāra Bhumi. That is the idea. And one of the main points is that when we start analyzing the outer object, the analysis shows that the object is purely conceptual, that object doesn't resist analysis. Why? Because, and this is a key way in which the Buddhist tradition decides what exists, if something exists, it either has to be one or many. So a unitary entity or a collection of entities. The idea that there is a part possessor, for example, when we look at the table, the idea that there is a table over and above the parts of the table is discarded by all Buddhists, as far as I know. That part possessor is accepted by some Indian philosophers, but is considered to be purely conceptual by the Buddhists. So that part is easily discarded somewhat. The ultimate part, the partless part, however, requires more reasoning in order to be discarded. And the Yogācāra point out that if we accept the partless part, it has no extension, really. It is not really extended in space. It is something like a geometrical point. So we have difficulties getting from there to extended objects, because if we want them to be added together, to join together, they would all fall into the same exact spot. And if they could join together without falling into the same spot, it would mean that that ultimate bit has got parts. It has got a part above, one below, etc., through which it can join with other parts. So either we relinquish the idea that it is a partless part, in which case, again, it is not considered to be ultimate, or we relinquish the idea that it can give rise to extension, in which case it still doesn't make sense. And therefore, by this type of analysis, we discard the idea that there are outer objects. And so what this means is that, yes, this configuration of the mind is there. The mind is perceiving itself as this configuration like a table, but there's nothing matching it. And therefore, both the idea that there is something to be perceived and that the mind is a perceiver, these ideas are purely imagined. And when one understands that, that has obtained the basis of purification, meaning one has obtained the proper object of focus of the noble ones when they are in meditation on emptiness, and that is going to be the ultimate antidote for removing the two types of obscurations, the obscurations of the mental afflictions and the obscuration to possible objects of knowledge. In other words, this view will be adequate to become a Buddha. That's the idea. So let me go back to this third quarter of the verse and link it to what I just explained. Bāhyasya ānu-tanoḥ vyapagamād anye punaḥ svapna-vat. So anye, other people, punaḥ, moreover, understand nairātmyaṃ viduḥ, we take it from the first part, svapna-vat, as being just like in a dream. Meaning, just like in a dream, we perceive many things, but those things are just projections of the mind. That's how they understand selflessness. And that is by removing one more thing, the bāhyasya ānu-tanoḥ vyapagamād. Due to the vyapagama, which here means the same as viraha, the removal, the not being there, bāhyasya, of the outer object, aṇu-tanoḥ api, even the one which is as small as a partless part. Anu is what sometimes translated by atom, but we have to understand it as the minimal entity, the one without extension, the one which has no parts. So they don't even believe that that exists. So the bāhya, the outer object, and by outer we mean other than consciousness, is simply not there. And therefore everything is like a dream. All we have is this continuity of self-awareness, moments of mind being aware of itself.